Hello friends and welcome back, and today we are finally giving Waspinator his due here as we are looking at the Robot Toys Beedril, aka their take on a not masterpiece, not Waspinator. But yeah, let's do the do and take a look at the packaging. So right here we have a little jungle scene there with a nice artistic rendering of Waspinator there on the front. They got the Robot Toys logo. I really love their logo. Just as an artist, I really like that logo. There we have the RTDO2 Beedril, and I cannot look at this and not think R2D2. Ages 12 and up. Same thing there on the top as is on the bottom. Just more jungle scene there on the sides. And then on the other side of the box, we have the logo on the other side. And then we have his Wasp mode, but sort of washed out to be all green. I don't know. So moving on to the Waspinator himself. He does come packaged in robot mode. There is some minor assembly required. These wings are separate in the packaging. They're just on little ball sockets, and you just snap them into the back there. As far as accessories, he does come with his little pea shooter, the little stinger there, which is excellently painted. He comes with this thing. So this is, of course, from Season 2's sort of towards the finale when Megatron sent Waspinator to go find the Ark. He was using this as a tracker before he got decimated. And if you've ever watched MGo's reviews, he looked at this thing and said that it looked like one of those Tiger Electronic fishing games. And now that he said that, I can't unsee it. It's totally a fishing game. It does have a magnet on the back. And then he gets an alternate head, or rather alternate face with a head attachment, firing off the laser eyes. We'll show that off in a moment. And then that alternate head has this little thing here attached to it, which is also from that same episode that little fishing game is from. And we'll show this off more in a little bit of detail later. But first, let's take a look at our Bug Boy here. And just look at those peepers. Look at that. Look at that. He's putting Kamen Rider to shame right here. Of course, got the same there on his chest for the insect head. Coming down here. All the paint and sculpting and detail is phenomenal on this guy. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. He's got screw covers for some of his screw holes, which I love seeing that. And coming down the back here, we got the great big bug booty. And the wings, we did show this a second ago, but I mean, look at the shimmer on these things. Those are gorgeous. I did put some Predacon symbols there on the side of his head, like he should have. Because, of course I did. Why wouldn't I? So, yeah, I mean, all in all, he looks phenomenal. I will say, I think maybe the proportions are just slightly off, but that's due to them having to transform. I think the arms are a little skinnier than they should be. That's about it as far as the looks of the robot that I can actually say here. So, for articulation, the head is on a ball joint. It's ball jointed here in the very base of the head, back here in the back. So it is a little bit of an awkward ball joint, but you get a lot of wiggling and waggling and rotating and whatnot out of that head, which looks phenomenal. We get articulated antenna, which is pretty cool. And we get articulated mandibles. So both of his mandibles open separately. They just go up and down. They don't spread out, which I think maybe I went too far now and I can't get his mouth closed. There we go. There we go. But again, look at that. They even got the little tiny bit of paint right in there. That's fantastic. Then, of course, we have butterfly joints right here at the shoulders. as well as a universal joint ratcheting in and out. We have bicep swivels. We have double jointed elbows. We have universal joints here at the hand, so you get a full swivel as well as an in and out, more in than out. Then we have an articulated thumb here, just on a single hinge. And then we get articulated fingers. We have the single index finger articulated in 2 points, as well as the rest of the fingers articulated in 2 points. And look at that, they even got the little bits of gold picked out there. I mean, they went ham on the paint on this guy. He does also have an ab crunch, about that far. And it's a pretty, I mean, it's not a ratchet joint, but it's not a loose joint either. It holds pretty well. And waist swivel. As far as the hips are concerned, he does have universal hips, but they don't go out too far, mostly due to the sculpting and the transformation. That's about as far out as they go. They are on ratchets. We do have a thigh swivel right here at the hip, as well as a double jointed knee right there. And then, of course, we can do up and down. We can also do side to side there at his feet. Now, as far as the articulation is concerned, I forgot to show off this. He also has, of course, the ball joints where you attach the wings, but he also has a swivel joint at the base of each wing right there, so you can get these wings going all over the place. They move freely. They're not loose yet. Yet. And of course, you can also twist his antenna there if you really want to. Also, here on the back, his butt is articulated. So, of course, you get some up and down here at the stinger tail here, I guess you could say, as well as some in and out right there. And we also get some articulation in the whole butt itself, which is really cool. But anyway, as far as the articulation is concerned, the only nitpick I really have is here at the waist. Due to his transformation, that likes to happen. He unfortunately unzips his fly a little too easily there. And for comparison, here he is with TransArt's Tarantulas and Quick Strike. Two of their best figures, in my opinion. You can see how he scales with them. Here he is with the only version of his partner in flying douchebaggery that we have, which, yeah, I think that pterosaur is a little too big. For an official Masterpiece comparison, here he is with the Masterpiece Rat Trap and Rhinox, and I think he scales just right here. Here he is with Robot Toys' previous Masterpiece Beast Wars release, that being Scorponok. Again, I think they scale just fine together. And lastly, for giggles, here he is with the Kingdom mold, the premium finished Possessed by Starscream version of him. And speaking of, just for giggles, here's a Starscream. Guess whose review is next? You can take the face off. You sort of get your fingernail down in there. And right there, of course, is the screw, and you can unscrew this, and the battery goes right in there. And you can take the alternate little head storage piece here and do the same thing. If I can get it off of there, it's a little tighter on this one. There we go. And then you can plug that in, and you can have him doing his eye lasers. Trying to remember, the only time I remember him using these in the show was the episode that introduced Tigatron. I think he was using the eye lasers to blast open his stasis pod. Now, of course, you've got that little spare face now and that little spare head, which has a little leg coming off of it. And what you're supposed to do here, again, recreating a scene from the show, you just pop off his hand. And then you can plug it in right here, which is a little easier said than done, if I'm being honest. Get that in there. Come on. Come on. Get in. Get. Work with me. And there you can plug that in there, and you can recreate that scene where Black Arachnia and Silverbolt crashed right through him. And his little spare parts were just crawling along. Oh, man. Honestly, more of him should come apart just for this. And just because it's Waspinator. I mean, come on. Now, Waspinator does have a light up feature here in his head, and that is activated by the fishing game here. So what you do is you take this, put it with the magnet right here to the front of his head, bop him in the face, and boom, his eyes light up. Let me turn off the lights here so you can get a better look at that. And of course it does bleed all the way through to his mouth. And this works okay for the eye lasers. Much like on the official Dinobot, who had a similar gimmick, they don't quite light up the whole thing here. Let me turn off all the lights. That's with all the lights off. You can kind of still see it, the light going down a little bit of the ways, but it doesn't quite go the entire way of the eye beams. But it still looks pretty good. Also, be careful taking the face with the eye lasers on and off. These eyepieces do pop off. They just pop in, just like on Dinobot's actual eye lasers. For those that have the official Masterpiece Dinobot, they just pop in and out. Then to deactivate that light, you just take that magnet and bop them in the back of the head with it, and there you go. So the thing about these magnetic light gimmicks, they're really cool. They are, but they're kind of hit and miss as to how durable they are. And by what I mean is, I have some that work perfectly. Even now, they've got the same batteries that they've had in them for over a year, and they're still working just fine. And then I've had some where the battery bleeds out in less than a week. And this is actually already the second set of batteries that I put in this. When I first started filming this review, the batteries had already died. So these ones are probably not going to last very long. Now on to transformation. Waspinator's transformation here is actually pretty simple. And I dare say very fluid and elegant for the most part. There is one step on this guy that is none of those things. And I genuinely don't like that step at all. But the rest of this is very enjoyable and very simple and doesn't take a whole lot of time to do, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, we are going to start here with the upper body. So what we want to do is we want to, kind of difficult to do here, just get this to untab here from the front. There we go. That will lift that head up, and that'll give us access right here to these little side panels. We want to move these up right through there. I know that's a little hard to see because it's a little small gap right there, but you want these side panels here on the sides of his head to be up. And that will let you take this entire back piece and just sort of accordion it up out of the way a little bit. And then that will let you take this whole back and rotate it backwards. And then you can take this whole section here, rotate it all the way around like so, and then rotate this section around like so. Then we can take these legs, they are all hooked onto a single panel that comes around here, and just move these out of the way, just like so. Now you're going to take the head, and there's this little peg hole here in the back of the head right there. That's going to tab onto that little square peg right in there, just like so. And now here's where things get a little bit weird. So you want to fold up the arms as much as you can get them to. And you want to fold down the hand over the arms like so. You also want to rotate these around. Mostly to just kind of keep them from warping too much because, yeah, they'll end up warping if he stays in bug mode for too long. Now, what this wants you to do here what it really wants you to do doesn't really work because there's not a lot of clearance in here. So it wants you to get the arms in place first. I didn't mean to do it that way. Like so. And like so. And then push this whole thing, pushing the head in here. The problem is that there's not enough room for that head to go between the arms at all. So it's expecting you to basically flex this whole thing around it, but when you do that, it tends to pop that head off of that peg. And if that head pops off of that peg, then the bug head becomes really, really loose. So what I find here, the best thing to do, and again, if you're worried about the little fake bee legs here, you can sort of rotate these however you think you might need to get them the clearance that they need. But I choose not to fold these all the way in at first, to sort of get them out a little bit, like so, and then fold that head in, and then sort of wrap these side panels around afterwards to get that into place, like so. Now, once you've done that, you extend this piece all the way forward, and you're going to put these side panels back down. And this is very hard to see because it's a very small space here, but you got this little square hole right there. If you look right there, you got little square pegs, sort of hook-shaped pegs there. Those square holes and square pegs. There we go. And there we go. Now, one little nitpick I have here, real quick, another little nitpick here, is this little panel right here is just a screw hole cover. The whole panel is a screw hole cover that just pegs in right here. And it's a very loose peg, and it knocks off very easily or gets moved out of the way very easily and can hinder things when you're trying to transform him back into robot mode. So do be careful of that. Also, see how these legs are positioned? When you fold this back in, that's how you want them to stay positioned. If you don't have them positioned just right, things are not going to go together when you put them back into robot mode, and things will not go good. All right. So let's come back up here to the head. We're going to grab his head and just split it apart right here. This whole centerpiece just rotates around, and then you can plug everything back together to make the wasp head. There we go. Now on to what I think is probably my favorite bit here, and probably the most clever bit here. We'll go ahead and close the feet up just like so. We're going to come back here to his butt, open this panel right here, and untab this, and this whole thing accordions out like that. And then you unfold these pieces and unfold these pieces like so. You're going to come back here to the back of the legs. I didn't mention this earlier, but all of the legs here from the knees down is pretty much all die cast. Just FYI. Anyway, flip these pegs down, and you're going to fold up these legs all the way using those double joints until these little pegs go into these little slots right there. And if it hasn't already come undone, you want to unpeg his crotch here, rotate that up, and that'll let you extend the legs down and tab them together like so. So legs should look more or less like that. Then you're going to take the bee butt here and just rotate it down over the legs. And these side panels that we folded out earlier are going to tab into the sides of the legs, as well as tab in right there. And then this will come in and tab in right there. This will fold up there. And then you just reach in here. There's a little lip right there. Gonna pull that whole thing out like so to give him his stinger. And then you can pose his legs however you want. Usually in the show they were just hanging down all loose and weird like. And pose his wings however you want to pose them. And there you have Waspinator in his Wasp mode. And yeah, that's a damn good looking Waspinator, if I do say so myself. Now there is storage for the gun in this mode, and what they want you to do is take the gun, thread it through that little thing right there, and give him another stinger that looks a little inappropriate. What I found and what I like to do is I like to take that gun and thread it through the other way, because there is actually enough room in here for that to fit in there, as well as thread through that little bit right there. He'll still have a little thing hanging down there, but that's a lot less cumbersome right there. And so, yeah. Now, in this mode, he does still have a lot of articulation. So the wing articulation stays the same. But as you saw with me messing with him earlier, you do get a side-to-side here on the head, as well as an up and down. His mandibles do open up slightly, as well as close back slightly. I do think the mandibles in his insect mode are too short. They were definitely a little bit bigger in the show, but this is to serve the robot mode looking as accurate as it does, so I can kind of forgive that. The legs are on swivel joints right here at the base, as well as a hinge joint, and another hinge joint right there, allowing you to get a whole lot of movement there. I do wish these front legs were on ball joints, though, because, you know, he would use these like they were his regular arms in the show quite a bit when he was in bug mode. And, of course, that panel that these are on can still go up and down ever so slightly. Just got to be careful that you don't start unpegging things when you do just that. As for the butt, you do still get that twist articulation. Oh, I did not mean to unpeg that, but there you go. So you can totally do that. But the way that this is articulated, you can also extend this out like so, and get that nice full butt hanging down, curling like he's about to sting you movement, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Now, downside, he can't stand on his own in bug mode at all. The legs just do not have enough give to him for doing that. Granted, he never really stood on his legs in bug mode when in the show. I mean, when he was being a bug, he was buzzing around pretty much nonstop. Now, if you look, he's got this square slot right here and another one here on his back, and that's very clearly meant for some kind of display stand, but he does not come with any kind of display stand. And since that's a square slot, it's definitely not going to work with your standard Takara Tomy or any other display stand you might have. And one more time, just for comparison, here he is with Robot Toys' Scorponok. As you can see how they look together. And both of these are just so well engineered and so clever and simple. But what I love is how much of a difference in size both the robot modes and their beast modes feel. Like Waspinator feels so much bigger in bug mode than he does in robot mode, which is pretty cool. Here he is with TransArt's Goat Tarantulas, TransArt's Quick Strike. Here he is with Pterosaur. Here he is with Rhinox and Rat Trap. And here he is with the Kingdom Waspinator and our new Studio Series Starscream. And so, yeah, that's basically it for Beedril, aka Waspinator. And yeah, this thing is ultimately a fantastic piece. Now, I am not a big third-party guy. I am not. Oftentimes, I feel third-party figures are way too over-engineered. They're spindly, they're fiddly, they're not fun to handle, they're not fun to transform, and they just look good on a shelf. This guy is mostly fun to transform, minus the one little nitpick that I have here. He's very intuitive, he's very solid, he's solid stance, he balances fantastically, mostly due to the die-cast legs, but just also he's fun to handle, he's fun to transform, he's simple to transform, and he's just fantastic all around. Now, of course, the other thing with the third-party figures is that oftentimes, they all making the same figures over and over and over again, and there's always going to be an official release for those. And when it comes to Beast Wars, however, we're probably never going to see the Transmetals in an official capacity because outside of the Western Hemisphere, that wasn't really well liked. And also, in Japan, they don't like making figures of the bad guys. So a figure like this may eventually come as an official release, but it's going to be very, very few and far between. Supposedly, they were working on a regular Tarantulas, but they were doing that at the same time as Rat Trap, and we still haven't seen anything. Now, Robot Toys is also picking up where Transart left off, so they've already thrown up prototypes and pre-orders for Depth Charge and Rampage, and those are two that I am highly, highly, highly excited for. So yeah, if you can pick this guy up, I highly recommend it. He's not ridiculously expensive outside of import cost. He's fun, he's fantastic. Look him up. That's going to be it for me, guys. Y'all have a good one.